Hey guys, welcome back. We just got our icons working. What I want to do real quick is kind of do a run through the UI, clean it up a little bit. I think it's unclear, we don't know what's going on. Let's fix this time. I'd like to make this a 2-digit number that doesn't have decimals. And maybe add some labels so we know what's going on. So the first thing that we can do, should be pretty simple anyways, is we're getting our temperature right now, but we want it as a integer. One way of doing that is wrapping this in typing int and then wrapping it, putting whatever we want to convert into integer in parentheses. If we just do that, hit play real quick, just for satisfaction, just see it work. If it works is the real question. Weather's installed. Cool. We got down an integer. That was quick and easy. What I'd also like to do real quick, if we can, is maybe add some labels. We could do that here, but it's going to get overridden. So I guess we can do that here instead. So we can say like something like that. I don't know, you can mess with it. Time will be self-explanatory, and this won't be. And I guess we could say, I don't know if we can do this. Since they're both strings, I'm trying to like just add one to the other. If that doesn't work, we can always do it in this format. Hit play again. Let's see what happens. We're gonna be hitting play more and more often as time goes. I think it was Xcode 9 made it possible to like test on your phone without connecting it, so they're making it easier and easier to test more often. Alright, so both of those worked. It's more clear. Font and stuff still looks a little, plain, but we'll get to that when we get to it. And then with this time variable, let's go see what it considers that it's returning. So it looks like it returns this. That's probably the time, I called it Epoch time if I remember correctly. Let's ray, no. Let's see what it's called. Let's see if I was right. The Unix time at which the data point begins. I was hoping it was the epoch time, which if we Google that, it's, unless I remember the name completely wrong. Yeah, okay, yeah, Unix time. I guess the same thing. Unix epoch time is what it's called. It's a time since 1970. I think for the current time, it would be for the current weather. It was mentioning how each one is interpreted. Where was it? They're saying for each of the different types of values, the time would be different. So for minutely, it would be compared to the top minute. But anyway, that doesn't apply to us currently. Time should be time since 1970. There's ways to handle that in all different languages. Let's see if I remember how to do it in this specific language. What I want to do is, rather than do too much here, I'd rather it return the value already set up. I could do that for the summary and stuff, but I'll just leave that alone. For the time though, I think what we need to do before we set it is say late time or date or whatever. Time equal date. And actually it has a initializer that's expecting a time interval since 1970. Time interval since 1970, I believe, time interval itself, I believe it's expecting a double. or let's see if it'll take an integer. Current time. Let's set this to that. Let's see if we get a huge complaint. I think we might, since time is supposed to be a string. Can I convert value of type into declare type and run? Okay, double. What if we say, or here, we could convert it there, or we could ask it to try to do that, to convert time to a double from the start. Can I assign value of type date to type int? Let's wrap this up. So it turns it into a string. Let's hit play and see what we get. What I expect we're gonna get is an error. Can I assign value of type string to type int? Oh. See, that's one of those cases where, like here, if I specified int, it would have been immediately obvious, but so it looks like by default we have that. We're going to change it into a string instead, since from now on we're going to have like an actual like time or date value depending on what we decide. Let's hit play, let's see what we get. We're probably going to get the entire like day, like the month, day, and year, plus the time, with a lot of extra stuff. Which is not what we want, but it's better than what we currently have, which is, you know, a long string of numbers. Time, so the time of this recording, yeah, March 31st, 2018, and the time is off. This is 4:31, 4 a.m. 31. So right now it's actually 9:31 p.m. of the 30th. So it looks like it defaults to a time zone that's 7 hours ahead. So I'm gonna try to remember, but either way, we'll look up how to change the time zone, how to format this to just get the time or the date, depending on what we want, and then we'll clean that up. But so far so good. I would Google something like date formatter Swift 4. And I have before. This is one of those things that, like, I don't know, you might remember, but in general I don't. I definitely don't remember. Sometimes the Swift like documentation works pretty nicely, but not all the time. So this is using kind of the same thing. You can give it a localization, you can give it a template. This looks like more of the type of stuff that we need. Cool, so what we're going to be using is a date formatter. Looks like it has a bunch of little... Okay, so let's just work it out. Let's see what's going on. So let's say let formatter equals date formatter, and then I guess we pass in nothing. Yeah, okay. Formatter, let's see, we don't need the date. Date style equals that something. Waiting for autocomplete. Say no. Say no date, and then we'll say time style equals dot. I don't know if it's going to be a very helpful hint, but we'll just do medium and see what comes from that. And then after we have the formatter, how we use it is we can use dateformat.string and then give it a date. Okay, that could work. Let's see what it does here. So we'll say formatter.string from time. Let's see what that looks like. I didn't do the locale stuff though, so I'll have to do that. So like this is the correct information, but it's not super specific on each of these little things. Like I'm gonna have to keep clicking in. I find a lot of the like tutorials and stuff written by people on very specific topics like date formatting do a better job about doing that. So 9:35, sweet, 9:35 p.m. and 40 seconds. For some reason that fixed our locale as well. It seems like the date formatter uses your default, which is pretty cool. Save some time. Something that's bugging me, maybe it's like super specific, but I'd like there to be a degree sign here on the temperature. So we could just pop it real quick. Temperature is a double. We can just do that in here. If I remember correctly, there's a way of inserting a like special value or whatever. Emojis and symbols. Shift, Command, space. Let me search for it. Degree. Oh sweet, they have Fahrenheit too. Add it to our favorites. Did it get added? Let's see what that looks like. Launching weather. Awesome. With every play, our app's looking a little bit more and more legit, which is fantastic. Something I'm thinking about, just a little design, is like I'd like summary to be, bold while clear is not. The current way we're doing it won't allow us to do that since they're all like one piece of text. But we could technically separate like a label. It's called summary, an identifier that's bold, and then it's individual value. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. But right now, it's looking pretty cool. We're getting our temperature back in the format we want. This quick summary, humidity. We got our time formatted correctly. We have our icon, which this icon's kind of weirding me out. Kind of looks like a smiley face. I don't love it. It's not immediately clear. Looks pretty cool. One other thing that I'd like to do, just because it's bothering me, is I'd like a way to refresh the weather besides like running the app over and over. So let's do this. Let's do this real quick. The shorter video, which I like to keep videos short if possible. I'll just move this down a little bit in a simple way. I'm thinking that I'd like to put this on top of the weather icon. I'd like the weather icon to be the top. So let's do it another way. I'm gonna keep swapping back and forth just so you remember both options. We'll have it centered based on the temperature beneath it. And then this temperature, I don't want it to be aligned to the top anymore. It's gonna break everything, but then we just align it to this image icon. Sweet. Yeah, cool. Alright. And then I don't know, I guess we can just like add like a refresh icon. Let's add a button. Which we haven't used the button before. Pop in a button here. Let's see. Actually very curious if they have like some default for it. I assume they would. System info light dark custom. was thinking they might have like a default image that we could use. So I'll get rid of the text. Let's go find us like a refresh icon. iOS. Real quick. I'm gonna keep using this icons 8. By the way, I mean, I'm not doing this video because I'm not gonna publish it or anything, but in general, if you use icons from this, they're usually free. They just want you to put like some link, give them credit. Please do that. It's pretty important. They spend a lot of time making this stuff. They don't expect much except just like some credit for it. It's not a big deal. It'll be pretty cool to do that. I'm not doing it right now because I'm not going to publish this app or anything. I'm just doing it for demonstration, but in general, definitely do that. We'll just close refresh, and then it's a sweet, simple way that I can do this. Slide this. Go to assets, and then see if I can just drag this from here. That'd be sweet. Can I? Yep. Go back to our storyboard. Click on our button. Give our image. Cool. And then I believe by default it just stretches to the size of the image, which in case I picked one that was good. But we can resize it for our own needs. I think it's a little big. What I think we'll do eventually is just add it so you, where you can swipe down to update, which I think is like expected behavior. Center horizontally, workspace, hit that, hit smaller, and now we're gonna see how to connect the button to the code. It's a little bit different than like connecting something that you like a label, like we've been doing. So now this is actually gonna be cool. Just loaded the wrong stuff. It sometimes does, sometimes doesn't, depending on which order you do it. But you can only go to automatic, usually is correct. So just do that. And this time we're gonna control, press, drag here. And we're gonna say action. So normally all these are outlets. This is an action, meaning where it's gonna make like a code block that you can write something in. Refresh weather. In general, you can leave this as any, but I like to put UI button. This is going to be the parameter that gets passed here. So then you can like find out stuff about UI button things in general, like its current title and things like that. We're not going to use it right now, but in general, I think it's good to know what types are being passed in. And then whenever this gets pressed, what we want to do is just update the UI. Actually, no, that's not true at all. We want to do weather dot get current weather and self dot update UI. So then anytime we press that, we should get a response. Just a tricky thing, I don't think it's going to happen in our case. Since we threw in a button, there's two ways we could have done this. We could throw in a button like we did, give it no title, and give it an image, and then it's just a clickable button. You could also, there's situations where you might want to, for whatever reason, have an image and make that clickable. In that case, you'd have to specifically mention that I want this to be clickable, or that user interaction is enabled. I'll just pull it up. I think it's under the settings. User interaction enabled. This has to be checked. In general, for image, if we look, yeah, user interaction enabled is not enabled. If I enabled it, then I could do something with it. We don't need that, but just like a tricky little thing that I wanted to mention. And now to test it, we can see the seconds go up if we press this. Oh no. supposed to work the first go. Oh. Why is that? Okay, so we're gonna have our first bug. Let's hit here. When this blue line shows up, that means if it gets this line of code, we're gonna stop there. Let's see if it does get there. It does not. Oh wait, it did. So we got there. This right here is a step over. Goes to the next line of code. Debugging is not something definitely not something I'm going to go over too much in this video, but in this case, I want to see what happened if we were getting the button press, and then we can click resume right here to let the app keep going. So it updated. What happened there? Was it just taking us a long time? I'm going to remove this, what's called a breakpoint. So it is working, but there's no like indication of it being pressed or whatever, which is obviously, even for me knowing that it's supposed to work, it's frustrating to press it and not get any feedback. Unless I'm just clicking the wrong area or something weird. I'm going to add a background to this thing just so we can see that it's being pressed, just for testing purposes. Okay, let's make it like obnoxious. Red and black. Hate how it looks, but okay, now it updated again. Updated again. I think I'm not clicking somewhere correctly or something. It's very strange. That, I'll be honest with you, I don't know why it's happening, but that's kind of the point of this whole type of tutorial that I'm trying to make. Let's see if we can figure out why it is together. And 47 in 1 second, unless it's something like simple, like my Wi-Fi is just slow or something like that, which is possible, but super unlikely. It seems like the press is just not happening. Well, you know what else it could be? This is another way we can check. So if we go like to our, let's go to dark sky again. Let's go to dark sky. Maybe there's like a limitation on the free tier on how often you can get a network refresh. That would be like a trickier problem, but it's definitely possible. One simple way to find out is, I gotta always remember this password. Okay, so one simple way to find out is if every time this refreshes, I don't know how quickly it gets called, but let's see if it refreshes now. This is a so that time it worked. So let's see if it went up by 2 calls or 1 call. 1 call. It's really weird. I don't know why the button's not pressing like it should. I want to say it's because it's like a simulator thing, and maybe my mouse clicks aren't, I don't know what to even call them, not great. Anyways, I'll look into that before the next video, but for now we got it working. I don't know why exactly that the button press isn't working. Doesn't matter too much since we're gonna make it so you can just like pull down on the screen to refresh anyways, but it's definitely something I'll look at before the next video and I'll let you know what I find out. Thanks for watching this video. We got a good amount done. Starting to look good. After we add in like typing in where you want to search for and things like that, the app's almost done at this point. Congrats.